We reported on one of your cases, Sharon Boxey.
Yes.
Lovely person. Terrible thing happened to her. She was awarded a $5 million verdict for pain and suffering, if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
And the judge reduced it per the law in this state down to $500,000.
That's correct.
Okay. She is a quadriplegic.
That's correct.
I think she was 38 when she was
also
rendered
correct.
Quadriplegic. She has probably 30 good years of living ahead of her. The life care plan, not going to Cedars and Sinai in Beverly Hills, but just a reasonable life care plan is in the millions of dollars to take care of her, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
Anyone that has that kind, and let me mention, because when you say the 500,000, because this needs to be understood, in our state, the 500,000 is not only for pain and suffering, disability, disfigurement, but it also includes any lost wages or lost earning capacity.
Yes.
So I have had multiple clients who were wage earners. So if you have a 40-year-old man with a wife and 3 children, and he's making $75,000 a year, and a doctor renders him a quadriplegic, what are his wage loss?
Right.
$75,000 a year for at least 20 or 25 years. And still, the maximum recovery
is included in that 500,000.
Is included in the 500, and the client has to pay all of the attorney's fees and cost of the litigation out of the 500,000. So the recovery to the client is substantially reduced by virtue of the cost of the litigation itself.
So let's get back to the medical costs, like Sharon Boxey, quadriplegic, millions of dollars. She gets medical care.
She gets medical care.
Who pays for that?
The medical care in Louisiana is paid by the Louisiana Patients Compensation Fund.
Okay. And who pays? Where do they get their money?
That money, it is private money. This Louisiana Patients Compensation Fund is a statutorily created trust.
Yes.
And when hospitals or any healthcare provider wants the benefits of the act, they pay a premium for the first $100,000 of coverage with an insurance company.
Is this medical malpractice insurance?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's only for $100,000. That's all that a doctor ever has to pay, no matter what he does.
A premium on $100,000.
Is premium, and his maximum legal exposure is $100,000. Right. The Patients Compensation Fund will charge a corresponding surcharge, and that goes into a fund, and the PCF is the term we use in short, now has about $800–900 million in reserve that is used to pay the $400,000, the difference there, plus to pay at a workers' comp rate the medical bills that the patient incurs. So many of the people, yes, they may be entitled to their medical bills to be paid through this governmental agency, but frequently, because they pay on such a low rate, oftentimes the patients cannot receive care at a premium level. They get second-rate care.
So, in other words, the fund approves the amount of money that is going to be paid a doctor who is treating this quadriplegic.
That's correct.
So if a doctor is charging, for lack of a better example, let's say $5,000 for a operation or whatever it might be, and the fund will come back and say, we're only going to pay $3,000, then that doctor may back out of the...
He might. He may well say...
Is there an appeal process in this kind of situation?
Not for the actual payment, because the PCF has a pay scale that they've approved under Louisiana law. There is an appeal if the PCF refuses to pay.
Right.
So one of the other, and at times there are where they just say, we don't think that has anything to do with the malpractice, we're not going to pay.
Right.
Then the patient can go back into court and ask the court to order the PCF
Right.
to pay the bill. But even if you win, you're paid on the scale that the PCF has.
But I'd be worried that if, like Sharon Boxey, she needs medical treatment for something right now, and now you have to wait longer, and she might deteriorate even more.
It's a continuum because the bills are not due until they're actually incurred. So the PCF's obligation to pay does not even arise under the law until the medical care is rendered and the bill issued.